comments and everything as well. But as we've established, I don't really entirely know. You know, the problem here is that you can't sort of like set up the YouTube URL and get all the stuff from YouTube.
Comments and everything as well.
Yeah. So the comments and everything.
As we've established,
Okay.
I don't really
see.
Oh, you know, the problem here is that you can't sort of like...
Who's that noob in the background talking?
Hang on. I've got to mute this one. Yeah. Have you ever done
What?
this before?
What a noob. Go on, what were you trying to say? That you can't like get the link ahead of time?
It's, yeah, and the number of times that I have been through this and you can't get the link ahead of time. I'm going to edit title and description. Oh no, you see, you can edit title and description. Why can't I edit the image? I hadn't checked the image. I just spent all this time. Maybe if I just go there.
I need a better camera.
You should do that.
So where am I looking when you're doing the sponsors? It feels a bit awkward.
Just look at, no, don't look at Scott, because if you look at Scott, you look at the screen.
You're supposed to look in the camera like here.
So there's people on here, but for people who are here early, like we started this early with the expectation of us.
For people who are here early, we have no idea what we're doing.
In fairness, it was kind of my responsibility. Oh, here we go. No, I found the link. Scott, have you got the one with all the comments?
Oh no, that's wrong. Refresh.
Oh, here you go. Let me. I'll drop this to you in our secret scroll back channel. Let's see if that works.
Dun dun dun. Oh yeah, I'm watching it now.
Oh look, first person, Frederick from Norway. There you go.
See, hi.
Wow, it's like I understand Norwegian all of a sudden.
Right.
Super tack.
Super tack. Yeah.
Tusen tack. I still like super thanks. Actually, it's a nice way of saying it.
Thanks. All right, so I've dropped you that URL. So Scott, you've got that URL, mate. You can. Oh, there you are. Beautiful. Right.
I'm in.
I'm going to Twitter this. So I really like this camera and this lens, but the only problem is, it's like as soon as I was a little bit forward, see, Charlotte goes blurry, and then if you're perfectly lined up
like that,
well, and I'll go back here. Why does it always just focus on me and never on you?
I don't know. Probably.
They recognize me. It's the AI.
Yeah, AI.
Okay. Yeah, we're there. Very, very good.
Maybe like her makeup doesn't look right. We'll just blur her out.
Oh, right.
I was going to say something, but I won't.
I've got everything working. Holy crap. Well, I feel like Zoom, with all of the money that they now have, could have made this a lot easier so that you could actually have a link to YouTube that you could share in advance. You could set the thing up in advance. You could publish it, but it always makes it hard. Anyway, so there's actually only one thing of the usual routine that I thought I'd do today, because it is the normal thing, and it helps me do what I do, which is the sponsor bit. And then the rest of it is pretty much free form, and I don't even have any notes because I'm just unprepared and busy and everything. So the sponsor bit, Arcos Labs. So Arcos Labs is doing a webinar about credential stuffing attacks with me at July 27 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. What time is that for us?
Oh.
That's a terrible clock.
Yeah, I think so.
Fortunately, through the luxury of pre-recording, I won't have to be up then. But we have recorded with Jeremiah Grossman as well. You met Jeremiah, didn't you, Scott? And
yes,
at Local Maplesec a couple of years ago. Remember when we used to go places?
I know, right? And airplanes.
I know. Oh, it's crazy. But mind you, you did get to go somewhere in an airplane recently, didn't you?
No, I drove there.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's.
I've not been in an airplane for ages.
See, the idea of going to another country in something other than an airplane is not something I'm really familiar with.
We're trapped.
That's your fault for living so far away.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but we are trapped here, and it's a very nice place to be trapped as well. So it's okay. So anyway, look, the only thing that we actually sort of slated for today, because a bunch of people are sort of going, oh, you know, like after I rescued Charlotte from the tyranny of Apple Macs.
I wouldn't call it a rescue. But.
Say, oh, look, I'll take Sabi, whatever. Afterwards, people are, all right, well, how was it? Like, you know, they wanted to get Charlotte to come on one of these things. In fact, you'd said to you several times, like, when am I going to go on one of your things?
Yeah.
Scott's been on there before.
Exactly. And Ari. I feel
Ari's
like
been on there before.
It's my time to shine.
Noel Merrigan, I think, has been on there before. Yeah, so basically, it's serious enough now. You can come over here.
Oh, thank you.
So, all right, let me illustrate, first of all, this was the Apple. Now, in fairness, it's
how nice does that look compared to any other Microsoft product?
Does what look?
That MacBook.
Well, we'll come back to that. Yeah, I was going to say, in fairness,
like, it looks so pretty for me. Like,
really? Come on, please. We will compare.
But as soon as you open it, you're just looking at the screen and a keyboard.
But it's just
a screen you can't
everything
interact
is so
with. You can't touch it.
And like pretty. It's like, I don't know that.
The point I was going to make is that, Scott, I know you've got, same as us, you've got iPhone, you've got an iPad, haven't you?
Yep.
iPad, Apple Watch, same as I thought. There's Apple stuff like all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start with the good bits and get that out of the way. Then it seems more balanced. What was kind of nice about this is I know that Charlotte would use it and she could like move things between the things and she could do FaceTime on here and she'd get her messages on here and all the rest of it. And it's like, that was
an AirDrop.
And AirDrop. Really, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the problem that we kept having, and I think because you were a Mac user before this, weren't you, Scott?
I've always run them in tandem. Like, I've never been a Mac, main only user.
All right, now you're just a PC only user.
No, I still have my MacBook here. I just don't use it much because I don't travel.
Do anything with it because it's a MacBook. Anyway, the problem that we would have, and not to be disingenuous, but
what are you going to say now?
I'm going to try and think about.
You don't have to try and say it politely. Just
but like there is an objective way of putting this. I think people that understand the tools that they work. I'm trying to. It's not. Oh shit! This hasn't started well.
Oh, Scott has left the chat. I'm just going to leave you two to that one.
Let's say that I just use the browser a lot. That's what I use it for.
I think people can join the dots there.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that there are people who use Macs and are like power user Macs, and they know how to do all the tricks and things like this, and it's fine. The problem is that you use the browser a lot. Let's just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
She use Safari.
I know we actually use Chrome, didn't
Chrome, yeah, I did use
Okay.
Chrome.
Didn't like the Mac one. Something like that. Anyway, mind you, I don't use the Microsoft one, so here we are.
But now the Microsoft one is the Google one.
The problem, geez, it's just making it more confusing. We have to explain that now. We'll explain it later. The problem is that every time Charlotte wanted to try and do something, or I'd ask her, how do you do something, which to me was really, really simple. It's like, hey, I've just plugged into an external screen and I can do like Windows P and I can choose another screen and I can just, how do you do it on the Mac? And she wouldn't know how to do that. And it'd be like, it's not that the Mac is bad, it's that you don't know how to do that and I don't know how to do that. So you have two people who don't know how to do something. But if we were on a Windows machine, then at least there'd be one of us and then we could kind of, like rising tide, all boats, all that kind of thing. So that was the problem I kept running into.
Yeah, but now I feel like I'm back in typing class when you learn how to type for the first time. And like with my MacBook, I actually need to have a Norwegian keyboard. So I'm sitting there now, and now the keyboard is absolutely new, and like I keep hitting the wrong wrong.
So you've gone to an English keyboard on your Windows laptop.
I do, yeah. And now I don't even get the O and the Ö that you need in Norwegian.
Do you have those? Do you have the O and the O and the Ö key?
A, Ö, O.
Why is there like Egyptian hieroglyphs on your keyboard?
Well, actually, I had a solution for this, and maybe like Frederick or one of the other Norwegian people, and they can help me sort this out. If we were to get another, so we ended up. So here's the other thing, right? It's not just like who knows how to use it, but it's whenever I sat down at a keyboard that I wasn't familiar with. Not the fact that it's a Norwegian keyboard, it's just a different shape and the keys are different. Yeah. You know what it's like if you go and use another Windows laptop, everything feels weird and you're really unproductive. But we would go between each other's machines doing stuff and it would feel weird. And then it would be a Norwegian keyboard and then it would be an operating system that I didn't understand. But also she would come to my machine and she'd be like, oh, this is super, super weird because I got one of these like ergonomic keyboards, right? Like that.
Oh yeah, they're cool. It's like the Sculpt.
Yeah, that's the Sculpt. And then I've got the mouse, which is the same sort of thing. Yeah, right. It's an evolution of that one because you don't have the numeric keypad there, right?
Yeah, no, mine's separate. It's like on the little side piece here.
I had that one for ages, and then I got this one a year and a bit ago.
I'm typing so slow at the moment. It's literally like, and then you were like, Why are you using the shift? No, it's not shift key.
Okay.
Caps
Sorry,
key.
this was almost a relationship-ending discovery.
Tell us.
Here, every time I want to
no.
uppercase a character, you know where it's going, don't you?
No. Right, I'm bye. See ya. I'm dialing out.
What's wrong with that?
You were doing to press the caps lock.
Don't say it. Don't say
it.
Don't say it.
Well, I was sitting down for the first time with this brand new keyboard, and then Troy is like, everything you can do with the keyboard is much quicker than the mouse. So every time I tried to use the mouse, it took it away. It's like, you can do that with the keyboard. You can do that with the keyboard.
So I've been doing the same thing with the kids, and I printed out like all the Windows shortcut keys. And it's like, look, I like everything you can do with the keyboard, please do with the key. Like, try and train yourself to get away from the mouse.
Yeah.
But that's not why you're pressing caps lock.
I see somebody, Peter, caps lock every time.
All right. Can we boot Peter out of this chat, Blaney?
No.
How do we get rid of Peter? Not for a single character. That's so inefficient.
This is not ganging up on Charlotte.
No, Peter as well.
No, this is just, ganging up on people that do it wrong. It's nothing to do with
Anyway, so where were we? It was one of the things that we wanted to do by changing the machines. It's like, okay, she can sit down here and all right, the screens are different, but the keyboard's the same, mouse the same, and I can get down there and I can do stuff. And because we now work together and we do so much stuff together, like, it does actually make things a lot easier to be able to just interchange. This is not even like a Mac or a PC debate. It's like, if you can sit down at another keyboard and the keys are in the same place and the mouse is the same, you're a lot more productive.
Plus, you won't threaten about throwing the MacBook in the canal.
Yeah.
Every time Troy came down to help, it's like, I swear this is the last time. I'm gonna throw it into the canal now.
It's going. It's going.
And I'm just sitting there like, nothing is working. But yeah, I am happy with the Windows. Like,
what device did you get? What device does she have now?
So she
I'm probably the first person that gets a new laptop and is grumpy. Remember, I was grumpy when you unpacked it. You were so
I can't picture you grumpy at all, Charlotte. I don't know what that would possibly look like.
Well, okay, so here's another thing, because you know how even like do you have an external keyboard at your desk there now? Yeah, right. But then you've got like a laptop, and then you're on the laptop, and the keyboards are different. So this is my machine. So this is a ThinkPad P1 with the Xeon processor and just a truckload of RAM. Looks like that. All right, keyboard. So the good thing about the ThinkPads is just like epically good keyboard. So everything from like nicely sculpted keys with good travel. But
I have to say, like, when I opened it for the first time, I feel like it would look like one of the first laptops my dad ever brought home, like with a little red dot in the middle. And I know they're known for it, but I don't even know what you use it for.
It's a pointer.
A pointer? But for what?
What machine have you got now, Scott?
Well, so I'm still using that Yoga for my. So it's either the Yoga or the MacBook Pro.
The one I gave
travel, which I've not. I mean, like, it's the most travel it does now is go to the garden. But yeah, so still the Yoga. The MacBook's probably not been out in ages, and because I'm at home all the time now, it's just my desktop. So yeah, not much in the mobile world in computing.
So anyway, to continue the discussion about the new stuff she's got, so this is the new one, which looks basically identical to mine because it is almost identical to mine. So this is an X1 Extreme. Up on the screen there. Looks like that, which you see looks very similar to me. It does have the little...
I don't like the nubbing nipple things. Like, I don't get them.
And don't touch it.
But
it's right in the middle of...
I use that all the time.
What do you use it for?
For pointing.
What do you point at?
It's okay. You know how you got a mouse?
Yeah.
Right? So see the mouse?
Oh.
But they're just, no, I don't like those.
But why don't you just slide the mouse over?
Well, you can choose. That's the joy. You have both options. Why not have both?
Well, no, but taking away options is good. Just have a trackpad. Like, you don't need a little nubbin thing in the middle of your keys.
So don't use it.
Yeah, but then make it go away.
Anyway, where I was going...
I think it should have been an option. Like,
yes,
with a Mac,
I agree with that.
Decide.
But
you should have been able to not spec it.
No, but it's just like it's so... You see the red dot as soon as you open it, and it's like...
Where I was going with the keyboard thing, and Frederick, this is something where you might be able to help. So my thinking was, because Charlotte said, she still needs to use the Mac when she sends Norwegian emails because the at and the
Yeah, at,
You hear that? because those ones aren't on here. But I was like, well, why don't we just get someone in Norway, like Frederick, to get like a Norwegian version of this, and then it's the same. Because I probably can.
Yeah, but I can get my dad to do that.
We can get your dad to that. Yeah. But Frederick seems keen. We could have one of those, and it's just Bluetooth, right? So you can have multiple connected Bluetooth keyboards at the same time. And then you could just go, I want to write Norwegian now, and you just go, like, pull the other one out of the drawer.
Someone here said you should just get a laptop with no keyboard.
But it's just like the other day.
But it's like Capital, I know.
Troy went to the dentist, and I went with him, and he didn't see it, but I snuck my Mac in because I just wanted to say.
Why did you take?
Because it was so much easier.
Why are you seeing other laptops behind my back?
That's a revelation. You're cheating on Windows.
Yeah. Because I wanted to have like a hotspot that was working right away with my iPhone. It's just so annoying.
Right. So you just go to settings and then like turn it on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Hard.
It's so easy.
But, and like I wanted to like type in Norwegian, and I wanted to type fast. I didn't want to just sit there and like, it was the best
like a kid
30 minutes
learning
for a long time, sitting there like.
But that's where I think there's a lot to be said for an iPad, because at least like having a digital keyboard, for want of a better term, an LCD.
Yeah, that's true.
You can just show whatever you want.
With my Mac, what I liked about it is like I would get like an icon on top, and I can just choose between either Australian or Norwegian. I can't find that on the Windows, where it's like really easy to swap, because if I just hold the A in for a long time, I can get the O.
See down there, it says English. Ing.
Yeah.
You click that and you can change the keyboard.
But I did that in the Norwegian one as well, but it didn't work.
Is Australian different to English?
No, but
no,
it's just like, more like when you if you have British English or American English, like the color.
I was thinking like the @ symbol is the one that usually moves. Where's your @ symbol on Australian?
We literally have a key that says dickhead. Like that's the Australian keyboard.
Sit there, clicking away.
No, the @ one's the big one. So the Australian keyboard's like the US keyboard. So we have it over the 2. You've got it somewhere over on the right near the enter key, don't you?
Yeah, the @ symbol should be on the right near the enter key. Because on that Yoga, I had to switch to an English keyboard, but it's the @ and the quote are the wrong way around because of that.
Just reading the comments, someone here says, I don't know if anyone else has pointed out, but an Australian, a Norwegian, and a Brit sounds like the start of a joke, which is the way most of our evenings ended up, in fairness. when we're all in places together.
We should do that again soon.
This is the thing, like Brendan's saying, you can quick switch keyboard languages on Windows with Windows key plus space. It's all these things that I need to like learn now, like all these shortcuts. Not that I knew that many, in fairness.
It's probably when you laminated chart.
I know,
but this is like, you becoming a power user. And it's
it's right next to the bit that tells you what the shift key does.
But I think like on the Mac, it's a command button, and here's a control button, and it's different. Yeah. So I keep hitting the Windows button every time I'm trying to do something and it's not working. And it's just, a matter of time. But
it's a little bit.
There's a website for this.
Like I wish I could type faster. I type terribly, but the only way I can type faster is I have to stop doing productive things and learn how to type faster. And then if I learn that, I will be better afterwards. But it's kind of like we all just sit here going, can I invest the time to become more efficient at something so that later on I can save time?
And it's having the time now, or the not having the time now, that's always the issue, right?
I know.
Oh, someone from Ireland.
So, hey, if anyone has questions like about Mac or PC stuff, then ask that, or about anything else, because we're not going to do much serious stuff today. If I'm on.
I remember how you were a bit surprised that when I went into Dropbox, I preferred.
Oh, Jesus! It's almost up there with the shift key. All right. Do you want to explain, or do I explain?
Oh, it's much more.
Go on, Charlotte. You explain it, and then we'll get the proper story from Troy.
Well, when she was on the Mac. And she used Dropbox. And what confused me about this is that the way that I have always used Dropbox, and maybe other people will have used it different ways, is you have a Dropbox account, and then for the most part, you sync your Dropbox, which is your cloud storage, to your local machine, so that the stuff you have on the cloud is on the local machine. You change the local things, it syncs up to the cloud. And my interface into Dropbox is effectively Windows Explorer. I know I can go to the browser and do some things when I need to, but everything else is through Windows Explorer. But I know Charlotte was doing pretty much everything through the browser. There's a theme here, actually.
Well, it is simply because like so maybe that's I don't know how the Windows side works, but with Macs you have like restricted storage, like you can't add another like extra storage. I don't know.
This is where we got to every time with the Mac.
But it's a bit like
You mean like expand the storage?
I just didn't want
to a bigger
like
hard drive.
I didn't want to like it's waste the space. I didn't want to have like Dropbox app downloaded. Like I'd rather have it in the browser because I don't need it all the time.
That's why you have selective sync, so you can just choose which folders or files you want to sync.
Yeah, I have to do that because I don't have. I
sync everything to my PC because my PC's got heaps and heaps of storage. But to my laptop, actually, no, I don't sync everything because I've got stuff like all the source media for all my Pluralsight courses from nearly a decade ago now. Like I don't need that. But anyway, the thing that really got me is that we have a bunch of shared Dropbox folders that we work in together. And I said, just create a folder. This is on the Windows PC, create a folder. And she went to the browser and created a folder. I'm sorry, this is not just to take the piss out of you, but I think it's just interesting to sort of see.
I mean, it's a reasonable,
maybe Frederick does that in Norway as well. I don't know. But created the folder in the browser and then went back to Windows Explorer where the folder had now synced and appeared and then saved the file into it.
Yeah, okay. Like, I mean, maybe Charlotte needs a Chromebook based on all of these browser stories.
No, don't.
That's just like Chrome on its own device.
Can we get back to this? Because this is, and just to be clear, and I did say it, I think I tweeted about it, something like, we paid for this retail from the website. I'm still part of the Lenovo Insiders group, but they did not give this to us. So I think, and I know that you feel very strongly about authenticity and transparency and everything, but yeah, the reason I'm part of that group is because I spend money on the gear and I like it enough that I'm happy for them to send me free things. It's like Ubiquity, right? Like you've spent a lot of money on Ubiquity stuff. But if they gave you Ubiquity stuff, you'd also be happy because that saves you money.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got another piece recently, but like a new MVR, but I still had to buy the cameras and the hard drives, and it's not.
Yeah, you're willing to spend. So anyway, point is, like, we spent cold hard cash on it, and I didn't even get any like insiders discounts or anything. It's just like, nope, just pay the whole thing. But
it was either that or me not having a computer at all because you're constantly threatening about throwing it away.
Because that one would have been in the canal. So it was good for sanity. It was good for productivity.
It got to that point where I was just like not looking forward to telling Troy that I needed help. I was like, damn.
How long did you spend on Google trying to figure something out?
So when we spec'd this, they had deals on different machines, and this ended up probably being higher spec than what we needed, but it ended up being a really good deal. And it was so it's a 4K screen. It's touch screen as well. And do you use the touch screen actually?
No, because I don't like to have finger marks on my screen.
Yeah, but like that's the problem. But by the same token, I find that the touch screens don't tend to.
Every time you're like, no, you can just use the touch screen and you just drag your finger around. I'm like,
Woosa.
So hang on, how do you use your iPad?
Well, that's fine because like it's different. It's like an iPad is an iPad, but I don't want like the screen I'm looking into to have like heaps of finger marks on it.
Which screen do you look into on the iPad?
I don't know. It's just like
No, I do use the touchscreen a lot on the Yoga. To be fair, like it's very. Usually, it's like when I'm reading emails or documents, and you can just kind of sit there and just flick the scroll up and stuff. Not heavily, but it is convenient. I'll give it that.
So, hey, if you want to change of pace, Shah has been really enjoying the IoT in the house.
I like?
Yeah, haven't you?
I was just going to say, like, how true is that? And then she answered before I asked. Have I? I just
thought about it because I saw Stephen Jones mention swapping Wi-Fi bulbs for Zigbee, which I'd actually really like to do right now, if I'm honest. But yeah, good.
This house.
It is. I don't know. I'm enjoying
my out of here.
You can't leave.
Because you can't say the command to open the door.
State at the moment. It's like, mind you, you have a land size 18 times the size of the UK, so you have options. But it's basically all desert.
We had a person asking the other day. That was here, and Troy was like, okay, so I was like, I'm going out, and Troy was like, oh, so are you coming back? And I was like, no. Brisbane Airport next. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have an Echo in your office, Troy, or not? I can't recall.
Oh, you mean an Amazon Echo?
Yes.
No. So both the kids have got one in their rooms.
But he makes the Sonos speaks. So I don't know if that's.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you did. Yes, yours were Sonos, weren't they?
Because every time I'm about to lose my mind.
All right. So
why?
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Norwegian thing. Frederick can comment. No. But there's one cupboard. You've been to our place. There's one cupboard, and it's like just above the stove. It's got all the glasses in it. And every single time she got a glass out of the cupboard, she would leave the cupboard door half closed.
It's because I'm used to doors that is soft closing, because every other door here is soft closing.
Anyway, the point is that.
So it's Troy's fault. Yeah.
No, it's not Troy's fault. It's just like he thinks that does it on purpose.
Get on your side.
She was making an effort because it went from, let's say it went from 90 degrees to 45 degrees, but it would never go to 0 degrees.
That just means like I'm not slamming the doors.
So somehow magically, obviously, I managed to close without slamming it, and the kids do too. But
no, they don't.
It would always end up at 45 degrees. So I'm like, I can fix this with technology. I know exactly how to fix this with technology. So,
and I bet it wasn't an automatic door closing robot arm, was it? That would have been useful.
No, it's much worse than that.
How would she learn if you had to close it for her?
Oh, that is a brave approach.
So I got one of the Kara Zigbee proximity sensors, little reed switches. I put that on there. And then it's like, if the door is open for 15 seconds, it says, Charlotte, please close the door. The Sonos next to her. And she didn't like that. So she said, well.
So you're singling me out.
I'm saying, what if it was someone else? So now it says, Charlotte or someone else, please close the door.
No, please close the kitchen cupboard door.
Oh, that sounds very lift person-esque, like when you're in a lift.
I would only accept it if you changed it back to the Sonos having a Norwegian English accent.
Oh, that was... We went through an evening, and we're going to try not to divert down racial stereotypes here. We just went through an evening of like changing all of the accents through all of the different like English accents of different cultures. Like there is a Norwegian one. It's like, okay, this is not Norwegian speaking Norwegian. It's like a Norwegian.
So it's like an English person with a Norwegian accent. Wow. Okay.
Well, not really, because it's reading it like a Norwegian would read it. But then it sounds English because of the words. But Troy, it ended up being almost a bit you couldn't really understand what the person said. So he's like, I think we just need to change it back to English now because I don't understand.
It was kind of.
I was like, close the goddamn bear fridge. That was the bear fridge.
What? That sounds pretty cool, though, actually.
I found on a more serious note that the battery in my temp sensor in the beer fridge seems to have gone flat. I'm not sure if maybe the cold temp kept it.
The cold.
John says, do you have one to tell you to put the toilet seat down? I would love to get one of those for you and Ari.
I think I'm pretty good with that. I think it's more Ari.
Mm-hmm.
So what's
blame the kids. Yeah. Oh, he's not here to defend himself.
Do you miss that?
So Frederick, we actually have that here in Australia. It is called Ski Queen. But Tina has exported that to Australia. So I'm all covered. Yeah. So I literally have 2 of them in the fridge downstairs.
So I like the fact someone here is saying, he's quoted me, she's quoted me, I can fix this with technology until DNS and or Cloudflare goes down. But the good thing is it's Zigbee, so it's all self-contained within the network, except for the text-to-speech from the Sonos. Does the Sonos, do you have Sonos at your home, Scott?
No, so I use either the Echoes, which we have in most rooms, or I have Audio Pro speakers.
But even with those, if you do text-to-speech, does it cache a message if you play the same message multiple times, like it's too hot in the house or whatever else?
Or like,
it doesn't cache messages, Troy.
Door?
I'm just wondering if it caches that locally or if it's dependent on the internet connection.
Because I can't even empty the dishwasher now without being asked to close the kitchen.
You can empty it just after you turn around and put the glasses in, close it again, get the new glasses, open it.
I've not been brave enough to go this far with our IoT yet. It's
probably get divorced if you do that.
Yeah, the bravest that I've got is when all of our phones leave the house, it turns the heating off. So if none of our phones are on the Wi-Fi, it just turns everything off.
You're probably not worried about that right now, are you?
No, it's the other way around. Oh my days, it is so hot.
Is it double digits?
Are you kidding me? It was 28 degrees outside yesterday, And British houses are like super well insulated. And then my office was like 36 centigrade. And we don't have aircon here because we never need it, apart from like 4 days a year when we all die. It's just not cool.
When we were in Oslo a couple of years ago, and it must have been 30 something, low 30s during the day, which is just like a normal day here. And I think it was the hottest I have been since I was a kid, because I just couldn't get the Airbnb we were staying in cool. Like it was just
no airflow,
crazy hot. Yeah, like no airflow, obviously no aircon, nothing.
Every time Troy says quiche, I think he means quiche.
Well, hang on, someone else in here made a comment about you, didn't they? About your cash. Cash. Isn't cash what you spend? Get them talking correctly. Gee, what am I doing the work at?
It's not quiche, I'll tell you that right now. And we have to remember.
Is it like when you router?
So router under the stairs, like in the cupboard, and then router is what you use for cutting wood and stuff. Like this is not hard.
I don't think
we have to remember
either, but the Aussies in this are just laughing.
No, it's okay that you say it wrong, but as long as we just acknowledge that this is the right way.
I'm fine.
As the native English speaker, I feel like I have the authority on how to say things. We'll switch to Australian if you want, if that makes it better for you.
So I'm just looking at some of the other comments here about temperature. So you, the three of us were in Vegas. Must have been, it was almost bang on 2 years ago. It must have been like a week less than 2 years because we were all there for Black Hat. But Charlotte and I went through Death Valley along the way. And what do we see? Like 48 Celsius?
49.5.
Yeah. And Death Valley has been up to like mid 50s Celsius. And it was kind of amazing because we hired like a little convertible and we just like had the roof down, we were just cruising down the desert and it's like, hey, 48 degrees, this is so cool. But as soon as you stop somewhere, there's all these signs with like skulls and crossbones, like don't get out of the car, you might die.
Well, it's just like don't go out for a walk after 10 o'clock in the morning.
So anyway, we went out for a walk.
You played tennis.
We played tennis.
It's like a wet paint sign, isn't it?
It was epic though. That drive actually from San Francisco,
that was beautiful.
Yosemite, and then Death Valley, and then Vegas. That was super, super, super cool. So,
we can travel again.
So Steve has got a question. Maybe you can pronounce that without us prompting you.
Huh? How does Charlotte say quiche?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quiche.
Wow, look at that Norwegian comment that just came through. Charlotte, can you read that?
Foreslår vi tar dette på norsk. Det mest rettferdig for både Troy og Scott.
She's real.
I was really close to what I was going to say, actually.
Yeah.
What did it mean?
Super talk.
I feel like we need to tell people the super tax story, otherwise they're not going to understand why we keep saying it wrong.
So Steve says, it always amuses me when Troy talks about lights in the roof when he means the ceiling. It's all the stuff up there. Like it's that general.
No. Steve is right.
So is your roof on the outside of your ceiling and your ceiling's on the inside of the roof?
Yes.
I think it's...
the roof gets wet when it rains. The ceiling doesn't.
I tell you, mate, our ceiling was getting wet when it rains. That's why it's a bloody mess at the moment as we fix everything. All of our ceiling was wet every time it rained. So was the roof. I did actually start renaming some of the things in Home Assistant from roof to ceiling because I started feeling self-conscious because many people made the point. And then
the roof is always external and ceiling is always internal.
Well, thank you. Even the Norwegian gets it. I got no idea.
Well, I feel like like street mix English haven't been, in the US and the UK and here. Like lush, that is apparently very UK. You don't really say that in Australia, do you?
Lush?
Yeah.
That's a brand here as well, though.
Yeah, totally.
Quite a big brand. Do you have that there?
Yeah.
Yep.
They have like bath bombs.
So looking at Scott's temperature. Oh, what's been getting up over 40? Is that your master bedroom? No, which is the one getting over 40?
That's
why do you have access to Scott's Home Assistant? That's crazy.
He just tweeted it. Don't worry.
Okay.
We were curious.
Guys just logged into my house and checking my house. So that is that's my office.
In Scott's pantry right now.
So PC case. That's the one here on above my PC case.
So sorry, the pantry's getting over 40, is it?
No, PC case. The
pantry.
PC case.
Oh, that's okay.
The pantry does. Well, I mean, no, because it's on the outside of my PC case. It's just on top of the computer. It's crazy. Where's my office one? There. Yeah, so my office was at 34 the other day.
So we're so this is the depths of winter. The coldest we've been in terms of a room in the last 24 hours is 18. Yeah.
See, 18 would be a beautiful warm day. That would be great.
And then if I go to my
shorts
weather,
out, t-shirt out.
Literally, like 18 degrees is suntan weather. Let's go.
So if I go to the weather station on the roof, so actually that was yesterday. That was meant to be the coldest day. Today, the coldest we got to outside, this is at 3 a.m., was 11.4 degrees. That's our winter. But our winter's day high. Oh wow, it's only 19. We didn't get to 20 today.
Oof, it's tough.
It's rough.
Tough.
So as you said, as an Aussie in the UK, I've been corrupted to say database and data like the English.
Data.
I don't know if corrupted to say something the right way is the term. I think corrected. I think he typoed corrected to corrupted. But other than that, the comment is valid. You do say data wrong as well.
Hey, what else do we say wrong? I'm sure you've picked up things I should probably fix.
Data, cache. No, those are the main ones in technology. Like, yeah, I'll write a list.
Partially disappointed Scott doesn't leave his home assistant publicly resolvable. It's like he doesn't trust us.
Although to be fair, if you're outside my house, you can access my home assistant subdomain, but I just serve like a static image as a joke of the dashboard. So it's like if anyone ever does find my home IP address and hits the port, they're like, and it's like, nope. It is just a screenshot of Home Assistant that I serve publicly.
How's your 3D printing going, Scott? Because I see you have it in the background. But...
Yeah. It's so the last thing I printed, I made a giant dragon egg. And it was massive. So we made this giant dragon egg, like printed it all. And then I flipped it over and filled it with cement. I was like, I'll make it a bit heavy. It's just too heavy to do anything with now. So we have this giant dragon egg that looks really cool, but it weighs like several kilos.
Wow.
So it's not really a toy anymore.
Is that an Ender you've got?
Yes, the Ender 3 Pro, I think it was. It's really cool. Like I print loads of little doohickeys and widgets. I'm building another engine at the minute as well, which is kind of cool.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you did the whole sort of proper moving engine, which was very cool.
Yeah, so that was like a 4-cylinder Toyota. I'm doing a Wankel rotary, actually, for a bit of a change.
Very nice.
It's
so
yeah, they're good.
Charlotte pointed this out to me, but Al's been, our 9-year-old daughter's been getting very into the 3D printing. And
I know.
You saw, so I'll read it for everyone else. So she's gone back to her mum's for a week today, and she left me a note, which says, print when I'm away at mum's. It's a whole list. Doghouse, small grey crystal, pink flamingo, 5 rainbow octopuses, 3 blue octopuses. And it's like, it's just the whole list of everything I have to print over the next week before she comes back.
My little boy is always...
He has he's selling stuff at school.
Oh, did I tell you Al got in trouble for selling things?
Oh, no.
Yeah, she got told off by the teacher. Like she was literally trying to monetize. Mind you, I got to buy all the filament, but she was trying to sell like the octopuses. And I was like, okay, I'm all right with that. So I think she told me yesterday or something. I printed, I used rainbow filament. I did 4 at once and they look super, super cool. I tweeted a photo of it. And she was trying to sell them. And the teacher said, you're not allowed to sell things at school. And I was like, are you allowed to exchange them with other things of value? Because if you go down that route.
Technically, when does it become selling? But why not? What if...
Can you exchange them for Bitcoin? Maybe we'll go down that route.
But why not? Is there a reason why not?
Probably because they don't want people to... They don't want to create pressure. And
British education system has a lot of weird things. Well, actually, I mean, it's a slight change of pace, but for some people this will seem really odd and for others will be really normal. But the things that Charlotte has noticed here, which many things I was aware of, because I spent 2 years going to school in the Netherlands, and that was very, very similar to Norway, I think, in many ways. But it's stuff like, why do you have uniforms? There's that. And then religion in school. So that's really unusual.
Well, it's because you send your kids to private school, but private school is very.
But then private schools don't really exist in Norway, do they?
No, pretty much.
And what was the other
Yeah,
thing?
a few, but
girls and boys schools as well. So yeah, that just wouldn't be normal there, would it?
No, but it's different here. Like it's more normal to send your kids to private school. I just feel like they're missing out a bit not being like in a co-ed school.
I'm still on the fence. It's like yes and no, because I have social networks. They haven't, like, Ari gets to be around a lot of younger girls. Okay, not such a big thing now, but give him a few years, this will be awesome. Because of Al's friends, and then vice versa. So at least they have that. But if we had if you had two boys, yeah, it'd be different.
Yeah,
or two girls.
But they're happy. They're very happy in the schools that they're at. So, but yeah, I was always a bit more of got along with boys better than girls when I was little. So, like, I loved to play soccer and.
You had the choice.
Yeah.
So Scott, just changing pace again. Like, what's it like for you guys in terms of like lockdown and COVID? Because we only know what we see on the news, and I mean we'll talk about it here in a moment because I'm sure people only know what they see on the news. But we're seeing, like, on the one hand, it's like 50,000 cases a day or 60,000 cases a day, and everyone's like no masks and party YOLO. So what's
I think we just became, like, 2 days ago, we became like the number one new infections a day country in the world, and better than places like India, which have multiple times our population. So when you look at it that way, it's like even worse. It's like, oh, we're just beating India. It's like, yeah, but they've got X times more population.
Billion
so,
people.
I was like, if you factor that in, we're actually really kicking ass in completely the wrong way. But yeah, it's, we had like Freedom Day. Oh, God. So we had like Freedom Day. Everyone's like, yeah, Freedom Day, get rid of the COVID restrictions. And then all of the companies and supermarkets and everywhere is like, no, yeah, we're going to keep those restrictions because they're a good idea and things are actually getting worse. So it's like the government just gave up and pulled the plug on the restrictions. And then everyone's common sense had to kick in and be like, all the supermarkets, it's like, yeah, we still want you to wear a mask when you're shopping.
So what's your vaccination rate like now?
Really good. Let me just pull up I haven't got the thing open today, but have you got like a global one there?
No, I was just going to pull up.
Man, look at that third wave coming along nicely.
You tweeting it? Or not tweeting this, messaging this?
No, if you've got one handy, I'm just reading mine. Gosh. I'm just looking at our infection chart for today. We had like the first wave, then we had the second wave, and everyone was really worried. And the third wave is, it's really bad. I can see us being back in lockdown before winter, or during winter at least.
But like, what's the strategy if you've got high rates of vaccination and you've still got this massive infection rate? Like, what is the way out?
Well, I mean, I don't know at the minute because I'm double jabbed already, and I was double jabbed for my travel to Spain, and it changes nothing. It doesn't change any of the restrictions on the way out or the way back. So then it's like, well, what? Like, if I'm double jabbed and someone's not double jabbed, and we're all subject to the same restrictions, then like, is the jab status actually changing anything? Like, we've got 54.6% of the population vaccinated today. So
is that the eligible population, or including like kids and stuff as well?
No, that's population.
Right.
So half of the population is double jab now.
Are you guys vaccinating kids?
No, it's still 16 and over. Last I was aware.
Yep. So or maybe work backwards. Our rates here, I just pulled up. There's a COVID_Australia Twitter account. So there have been 7.6 million people get their first dose, including us. So we got ours 2 weeks ago, and there have been, and we'll put this in context too, because Australia's there's not a lot of people. 3 million people have had their second dose. So this is out of about 25 million people. And I guess our ratio of like eligible people to ineligible people in terms of kids is probably pretty similar to the UK. But when you look at it and you go 3 million people, and there must be at least 15 million that would be eligible, surely. So it's like, well, we're like in the teens percentage-wise, surely. So the problem we're having, and someone's just commented on this just here, Australia Strong, New South Wales is freaking out with just over 100 cases. So New South Wales has got, I don't know, how many people got in New South Wales? 8 million people or something like that. and they've had 100 cases. But
I
Australia,
think I know 100 people with COVID right now. Like that's just the stark difference.
So Australia is just like going into hard lockdown for 3 states. So New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia are all like, nope, everything's locked down. And then Queensland, where we are, like we've been super fortunate. We've got 5.1 million people, 18 times the land size of the UK. They're not all spread out over there. Like we're basically almost all within a very small radius of here. But we've had, I think, 7 or 8 deaths in total since day one. And the only restriction we've got in place at the moment is the mask mandate. And it was meant to lift Friday last week, but they extended it a week. And then it was meant to lift today, but they've extended it another week. And then they've just closed the borders. So the border to New South Wales, which is only about 30K that way. So we're like a border city. So
it's like one of those weird things when we have similar, like, you know, when we drive out of town, if we turn left or right, it can be like legal or illegal for crossing some line on a map. It's really bizarre.
But they're like county, are they like county lines?
Yeah. So we have
very, very arbitrary lines without any sort of, it's not like, I mean, maybe there's a sign you are now entering, but it's not something that they'd police.
There's not even signs for when I cross the border to Yorkshire. You just drive down a road and then it's literally just, you know, going back a couple of months, like we could go out of town and turn left and it would be illegal in like a mile. It's so bizarre.
So for us, that they've literally got cops on, and it's not just the highway, but there is literally a border town where, in fact, only a few months ago, we were down to like Point Danger where the border is. And, you know, you can stand there with 1 foot in each state.
Yeah.
And we were going, oh, wow, wasn't that weird when they had to lock everything down? You know, now here we are again. So we're meant to be going to the snow 5 weeks from today in New South Wales. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We just have to wait and see.
There's a few comments coming in. So someone's saying the graph should be for eligible people. So it should be 54.6% of eligible people. That sounds reasonable. And everyone's saying the deaths, even though the third wave is like going to be a lot bigger than the first and second, again, they are right that the number of deaths and hospitalizations is lower.
That seems to be the key of the vaccination, right? It's not necessarily to stop you getting crook. It's to reduce.
Yeah, because it does nothing for transmission or, you know, anything. It doesn't stop transmission or hinder it in any way. It is just you're less likely to end up in hospital if you get it. Did you guys manage to get your jabs? Like, how's it? Because Australia's really bad on.
Well, this is kind of the double-edged sword, right? Like, because we basically had no incidents. Okay, we have had incidents, but you know, on the relatively speaking, everyone was like, "Oh, we'll just, you know, let the English people take the jab first, and we'll see what happens." You know,
they turn into zombies.
They can basically be the crash test dummies, and everybody got very complacent. And the government has acknowledged, in fact, our Prime Minister, who we all agree gets the dickhead key on the keyboard, like kind of like yours.
No, he gets a different key that I can't say.
That other special key. He said, I think just today, he apologised because they basically botched the rollout of the vaccination. But I think being a politician at the moment would have been an absolutely thankless job that nobody asked for under these conditions. So yeah, we had a very, very slow rollout, and in fact, we weren't really thinking about it. We're thinking about it a little bit, like, we probably should get it when we can. This is probably like 6 weeks ago or something. And then a mate of mine, one of Elle's dad's friends, who has a McLaren, which makes him very nice.
The orange one.
Yeah, the orange one. I sent you a photo of it, Manu. You know, because his number plate says Manu. So Manu was like, actually, I don't know if I told you this. This is so funny. I think we can say this, but Elle comes home from school one day, and like she's 8 years old at the time. She's like, oh, Anishka's dad's got a McLaren. And it's like, yeah, sure she does, sweetie. You know, it's kids talk a lot because I really like McLarens. And we'd met Manu before, and he's a super, super lovely guy. And he's chic, so he's got the full chic turban and everything. So you don't see a lot of chics around the street here on the Gold Coast. And anyway, one day Charlotte and I are out riding our bikes, and like, oh, sweet, look at that. It's like an orange McLaren. And the number plate says Manu, and there's a chic driving us. Like, holy shit, you're right. Manu really does have a McLaren. Anyway, so Manu says, go down to Gold Coast University Hospital, and you can just do a walk-in and get it, which we tried. And they said, only some days are they doing the walk-in. So we couldn't get it then, but there's like, here's a form, go online and fill out your details. And long story short, we did that and we waited for ages. And then you try and book somewhere where there's no available appointments. And then I managed to get one like 2 weeks away, and Charlotte got one that day. So we walked in together and socially engineered my way past the front gate. This is how hard it was. Like the guard at the front is like, so papers, where are your papers? So Charlotte's got her papers, and here's my papers. I'm like, I'm with her. Can I get it? And he's like, ask the lady at the desk when you get in. And then we get in there, and the lady at the desk is like, so what did the guy at the front say? He said it was good. So,
we have
next week.
Yeah.
So which one did you have, by the way?
Pfizer.
Yeah. So we've only got Pfizer and AstraZeneca, and AstraZeneca, they were doing only 50 plus, and then they were like, no, we're only doing 60 plus. And then a whole bunch of COVID started happening, and they're like, maybe if you want to and you're younger, you can have but yeah. So I felt like awful after my first shot. Did you get any side effects from the Pfizer one?
Nothing.
I see. I had the Oxford AstraZeneca. I felt like
D and stuff here as well, which really helps.
Death. But the other thing as well is like I think our vaccination rate is going to fall off a lot now, because all of the vaccine centres, at least where I am in the north, are just like, just turn up. Don't book, don't do anything, just roll up, because we've just got so many vaccines laying around. You can literally just walk in and get a shot now. And I was like, well, that's not good, because I think we've done really well on the vaccine trajectory, and I think it's just going to go boop and flatten off, and that'll be it.
So it's interesting to see everyone's experiences. So Jared here says, try being in your early 30s. They literally bumped me from appointments. So some of us are in our early 30s. And it must be like 2 weeks and 1 day ago that you got that. And it was literally on the day. But it's Queensland and it's Gold Coast and it's this particular location. And what we keep hearing from people around Australia is that there's just very different experiences in very different parts of the country. So, maybe it is different somewhere else. And in fact, I forget who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone. Oh, no, that's right. It was Clive. So this is when I saw my psych, because I need help. It's another story. And he was like, he apparently just opened up randomly. So he just went onto the website on a Sunday, and there were appointments, which weren't there before. So that's when I was like, all right, I'll just jump on and try it.
Here we are.
Anyway, look, there'll surely demand and supply will come into more equilibrium sooner or later, because there's enough bloody anti-vaxxer communities around Byron Bay, things like that aren't going to want it anyway.
Do you have the app there, like a tracking app? So we have the NHS app that tells you if you've been near someone with it, and they get in touch with you. Someone just mentioned a comment here saying like people in the UK are just deleting the app now because you can't go anywhere and not get pinged in the app, because there's just so many people around.
Right.
And
so the app
people are now just uninstalling it.
It's a Queensland,
which is not,
what's it actually called? Is it QOD?
I can find it here on my phone. It's the check-in QOD.
QOD.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what it looks like. This is the last place I went today, Slipper Coffee. And there's just QR code. You pop up open the app.
But yeah, you need to check in everywhere you go, which is...
What's actually in here?
It's
check-in profile history. Ooh, here's everywhere.
See, so there is like another angle to this, and it is tech and privacy related, because in the UK, all venues are supposed to have the NHS QR code to check into. Yeah. But we've been going to a few places recently, and they're like, oh, no. Like, you have to use we don't do the NHS one, we do our own one. So I've been giving them a particular email address, just an alias on my email domain, and then getting marketing shit. And I'm really cross about this.
Shit.
That's really cross about this. And it's like, we went to a pub the other day, and they were like, no, like we don't do the NHS one. Just sign into the Wi-Fi, and it asks you for like your name and your email. And I'm like, right, but this is just to get on the Wi-Fi like it was before. And they're like, yeah, but we're now using this as our contact trace. And again, I'm getting marketing shit from them. I'm so grumpy about that. Like, I'm really genuinely pissed off. That's just so shady.
Like, legislated against that or something like that?
I mean, like, it's legislated that you have to check in and do some form of contact tracing. And the NHS app is one of the options. But to the best of my knowledge and understanding, they can't force you to use their system. Like, they have to offer you the NHS check-in one. But you go somewhere and they're like, no, we don't, you have to use ours or, go away. So then you're stood at the door and it's like people behind you. And I'm like, no, give me the NHS barcode to scan, please. And they're like, no, sign into this portal here. And it's just like, it's so annoying. Places are just using it as like really shady data collection.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something wrong there. That should be something that you can legislate against. It's like, look, any COVID tracing app can only use the data for contact tracing purposes, surely.
I mean, I'm sure it probably is like that, right? But when you're stood at a restaurant and you've had to wait like 2 weeks for a booking, and it's like you kind of stood there and you don't really have much of a choice, which is, I guess, why they're probably doing it.
So, I mean, pivoting just slightly on that whole thing about unique aliases on your domain for different things. I've had a couple of cases recently where, in fact, I've still got one sitting here. Subject line, can I write for troyhunt.com? And, I do the same thing, right? Catch-all. And this was sent to lemetric@troyhunt.com. And I'm like, I've got a lemetric on my desk there. What are these bastards been doing? So anyway, I Google it, and I didn't realize it, but when I signed up for the Lemetric account and I published the Have I Been Pwned app, which can display a Have I Been Pwned subscribe account on there, it makes the email address public. So I didn't realize it. So then I was like, screw this. I'll go in and I'll make it not public. Can't do it. Can't make it not public. So I could change it to something at scotthelmet.co.uk, I guess. I could do that.
I guess so much spam.
I went back to this person, and I was very polite. And I said, "Hi, Lucy, where did you get this email address from?" And she replied just this morning. She says, "Hi, Troy, it must have been from an email checking tool I've used, hunter.io most likely. That will have got it from somewhere on the web, and it has been used. Apologies, clearly not the right email address." I think you're missing the point, Lucy.
Yes.
Like, Lucy, you're scraping my email address off places and then you're sending me spam. Well,
I've become so brutal
as well, but Norwegian spam.
Oh, this is totally.
Yeah, true.
I just like now, because I use Fastmail for everything. I'm just like any inkling of spam now. I'm just like spam, permanent block, gone. Like I don't have any time for any. It's like too busy for people to be spamming out. Everyone always asks me if I want like contact lists for some conference where they sell bricks and cement, and I'm like, no. It's not.
I'm collating stuff. I'm doing a mega blog post. I've been collating stuff for months and months and months with all these examples going in there, because I find it really fascinating to hear the excuses of how organizations think it's not spam. So I've got this whole stuff, it's things like, and I've posted a lot on Twitter just to see how people react as well. But I've posted things where people have come back and said, "Oh, if it's not porn, it's not spam." It's like, what? No, of course it. Or someone say, well, if you have published your email address somewhere, then it's not spam. It's like, well, my phone number is in the phone book as well, because that's how phone books work. If you start cold calling me, that's still spam. Other people need to have my email address. That's how I get email. They have it and then they write the email. But if it's marketing and it's unsolicited, then that is spam. So
inspired by your your blog post where you tweet like the crappy marketing stuff and then get more. So I've been keeping one, like people keep, and you just mentioned it then, which reminded me, emailing me asking if they can publish like sponsored blog posts or, write an article and I'll so I'm just going to be like, yeah, I can. And I'm going to write like a really nice page about how you can do this. And then the price at the bottom is going to be like $1 million. I'm just going to send this back to them and be like, yes, we do sponsored articles on scotthelm.co.uk and here's the things and this is how it works and here's the price, $1 million. So it's like,
I've been thinking about doing something like that too. In fact, I had one come in a couple of days ago and I left it sitting there in my inbox rather than just reporting it junk straight away. So I've got to come up with I didn't mention this to you. I've got to come up with a plan for this. And I want to do something similar to what you're doing, but I want to do something that A, wastes as much of their time as possible, and B, then puts it on public display. So, because I kind of want, and then I want to be able to send it back to them and go, hey, suckers, it's like, here we go. So I'm thinking of, there might be forms to fill out and approval processes, and then it basically gets more and more crazy as you go along. And I'll just stand up a little web app somewhere which collects more and more data. And then maybe we'll just like, as they submit each field, it just gets, and eventually getting to the point where it's like a valid guest post to troyhunt.com must be wearing underwear of a certain color. Could you please describe the color of the underwear? I'll probably get in trouble for that. But, you know, like something to that effect, and just like see how far people go. Because I get these like every single day. So, and that's just in my inbox too, let alone going through the spam folder.
It is wild, isn't it? And even on things like on Report URI, I have a catch-all for everything other than our actual email addresses. And the amount of things that I get that are addressed to you and stuff, and me and all of us, but they're just guessing at like, yeah, but they're just guessing at like Troy.Hunt and T.Hunt and T.Hunt, and like, they're just trying to email us, and they're just guessing our email aliases. It's like, nope, spam, blocked by, just like, it's constant, honestly. I'll forward it to your inbox for a day. You can sift through them.
So Vu says, Scott Helm, what happens if they are prepared to pay? Do you post it? I'll tell you what, mate, if it's $1 million, you should do it. You should post it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, totally. If it's $1 million, I'll post it. Like, that's fine. You set the price. It's something that you're happy to do it for, right? And then if they're willing to pay the price, let's go.
It's a nice round. Like, how do you get to $1 million? Because it's a very round number. It doesn't feel particularly scientific.
No, not at all. But it's, everyone has a price for everything. And $1 million is my price for posting a shit article on my blog. Like, that's,
So look, we're going on an hour, so I think we might wrap this up. It's 7-ish here.
Yeah, we're gonna have dinner.
It's our dinner time as well.
Dinner.
I've got to have like mid-morning breakfast.
Oh yeah, you're 10, aren't you?
Yeah, 10 a.m. now.
All right, well look, we might wrap it up. If people liked this, we'll do it again at some time, because let's face it, we're not going to be catching up in person based on what we've seen for a year.
Well, it won't be like Windows versus Mac again, will it?
No, we've done that. Look,
hopefully I'll be
Windows.
It'll be Windows versus Chromebook.
We've moved on. Yeah. We've moved on. It's Windows and Shift key.
Our relationship is good. There's no dramas.
You've been through counselling. We've agreed on an operating system. Everything is good.
Thanks, Dr. Scott.
No more automation. No more home automation.
No.
Anyway, until next time.
Don't agree to that, Troy.
I won't agree to that. All right, let's wrap it up there. Okay. Thanks, folks. See ya.
Bye, everyone. See you. Bye.
All right, I should have